What's up, everybody? Happy Tuesday. Hope all you're having a great day so far. Getting into this episode, I really enjoyed this episode. I thought this episode was a really great episode. Emotions were all over the place in this episode. Getting into it though, I love the scene with Monica and Michael. I just always feel bad when I see the two of them. When I see Michael and Monica, I feel bad because these are two characters that have been through so much over the years. You know what I'm saying? Everybody knows the deal with Michael and Monica. Like they've been through some tough stuff over the years. You know, Monica has outlived her children. Well, most of her children she's outlived. A husband, in-laws, her father-in-law, her mother-in-law. Now she's outliving her grandson. You know what I'm saying? Like she's buried a lot of people and it's sad. Like you know, she's been through the ringer. And that's a sad thing to be losing family members left and right. You know what I mean? Like that's just and that doesn't even count the family who leave town. You know what I mean? Like even though her and Tracy couldn't stand each other at times, like downright hated each other, they grew a mutual respect for each other. And I know it saddened her when Tracy left town, and it's been almost 2 years since Tracy left town. And I miss Tracy to like crazy. Like people don't understand. Like I love me some Tracy Q. I miss her immensely. But I know Jane Elliott is enjoying retirement. I wish she could pop in for a guest appearance or two. I wish. Um, I think she will at some point, though. I definitely think we'll see Tracy again at some point. I was hoping for some time this year. You know, I think Tracy definitely would have liked Oscar, though. Um, Speaking of Oscar, that scene with him, Kim, and Dr. Randolph was amazing. Let me tell you something. The acting in that scene was superb. That acting was outstanding. That was some good acting right there. I couldn't imagine going through something like that, having cancer, a tumor, whatever. Just hearing those things, like I couldn't go through it. I couldn't. The questions that he asked her were so deep. One of the questions, the first question he asked her was, "How would it feel when you're dying?" That was a deep question. I don't think anybody can really answer that question now. That's not a question I don't think anybody can answer. You just have to go through that. You know what I mean? But when she told him how over time the pain was going to become more excruciating and he was going to lose his balance and he might lose his inability to speak or walk, or I said, wow. Like the emotion on his face just was very telling. And then when they asked her how long has one of her patients, lived with that same illness, she said the longest is 7 to 8 months. The shortest is 6 weeks. When she said 6 weeks, that boy's face told a story. The way he just dropped that water bottle when he heard 6 weeks, his whole life flashed before him when she said that. I couldn't imagine going through something like that, not knowing if you have 6 weeks left to live or 7 to 8 months left to live. I know I couldn't go through that. Mm-mm. I would just tell them to inject me with something now and kill me now. Take me out my misery. I'm just saying, like I couldn't listen to nothing like that. He's a strong kid to even stand there and continue to listen to it. I couldn't. I would probably break down. I would probably collapse right there on that in that room. I couldn't do it. That acting was amazing though. But just to hear news like that you're gonna die soon, and I mean very soon, probably like this year soon, I couldn't dare. I couldn't sit there and listen to that news. That's heartbreaking. I felt bad for this kid because at 16 years old, he hasn't even begun to really live life. And that's sad. I do feel like Drew should have been there. I wish Drew would have been in that meeting. For whatever reason, he wasn't there. Um, Alexis was getting on my nerves just a tad today when she was telling Julian to go be with Kim or whatever. I'm like, Alexis, fall back. I felt like that because I'm like, Alexis, okay, I was with you, I was on your side before, but now it's like you're doing too much. Like the way she just came up in there and sought Julian out to go see Kim, because Alexis had bumped into Oscar earlier that day. and he still wants to move forward with his will, to make sure his ELQ stock and everything is taken care of. Um, so she felt compelled to tell Julian to go talk to Kim. I understand her motives and her heart was clearly in the right place, but I just felt like you're doing too much, Alexis. Like, back off. You're doing too much. Just, back off. It was just a hot mess. Julian was like, he just felt like, it wasn't his place to go see her or whatever until they actually bumped into each other outside. What irked me about Kim was she still called Julian a jerk for sleeping with somebody else, even though he didn't, but she don't know that. But at the same time, Julian's not a jerk. I mean, you might think he's a jerk for breaking up with her because of her sick son, but that's no reason to stay with her either. He can still support her emotionally without being with her, romantically. But for her to sit there and call him a jerk, I felt like that was messed up because you're the one who basically cheated on him, though. You were the one kissing your baby daddy on New Year's. You know what I'm saying? And she had no remorse about it. That's the problem I'm having with Kim is because she's not taking no accountability for it. But yet she's blaming Julian. That's where my issue with her comes in. It's like, how are you blaming him for something you did? He had no intention of breaking up with you. But you're spending all of this time with Drew. Granted, it's because of your son. And I get it. But all of that touching and cuddling and kissing, no. That's overkill. That's you crossing the line right there. So I can't blame Julian for breaking up with her. He had every reason to. He had every right. I would have done the same thing. You ain't gonna be sitting there canoodling with your baby daddy and think I'm all to the good with that. No, you're not. Um, I feel like Chase is still setting himself up for a fall where Willow is concerned. Like I said before, I feel like Chase is more into Willow than she's into him. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't think so. I just don't see that relationship going too far, especially with Michael lurking around. Because it's obvious that Michael is feeling Willow. Like, because they're getting each other on a deep connection, like on an emotional level, because of Wiley and Jonah. Like, they're getting each other. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just feel like there's a deeper connection there. I don't know, but all I know is Chase might be setting himself up for a fall. I can't say it for sure, but from what I've seen, I just think that he's way more into her than she is of him, and I don't see it ending too well. Julian was getting on my nerves too, the way he was talking to Willow, basically telling her maybe she should think about leaving Port Charles or whatever. I'm like, no. Then sitting there telling her that Lucas and Brad are the parents of her child. I, they are the parent legally, but biologically, that's still always going to be her child. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's always going to be her child. So she had every right to say, well, that's my kid because it is her kid. Julian, he need to stay out of this. I don't know why he let Brad rope him into this mess. Speaking of, when are we ending this baby storyline? Because Willow needs to learn the truth about her child. Michael needs to learn the truth about his child and get his child back. Like, we need to end this baby mess. Because I've said it a billion times, I'm not a fan of baby switch storylines. I find it totally stupid. And I find this one even more boring because we're not getting any movement on it. Like, we hardly see Brad and Lucas. So there's no end in sight to this storyline, and we need to wrap this up. See, that's what I'm irritated about because it's a whole new year and we're still stuck with 2018 storylines. Like, let's move this along, shall we? So anyway, Anna looked like something out of, she looked straight. She looked like Sandra Bullock when she was in Bird Box. And no, I have not seen the movie Bird Box, but I keep hearing about it. Everybody keep telling me about that movie. I seen the trailer for it. Actually, I did go on Netflix. I watched 5 minutes of that movie, maybe 10. It's not my kind of movie. It's not. It's not something I'm into. I thought it was kind of stupid. A lot of people, from what I've seen, liked it. That's cool. For me, it wasn't for me. I just found it to be a little too stupid. But it just wasn't my cup of tea. But yeah, she looked like Sandra Bullock in Bird Box with that damn bandage on her face. And they ended that storyline, not the storyline, but they ended her blindness rather quickly. I'm like, She was blind literally for a day. I was hoping for maybe a couple months. I was hoping. Because the reason why I know people wanted that to end quickly, for me, I wanted it to keep going a little longer because it's something new for the Anna character, her being blind and having to navigate life being a blind person. I was hoping to see more of that, but they ended it quickly. I guess Griffin gave her some medication or some whatever that healed her or whatever, her virus. But the problem is, and there's definitely more to the storyline, I do believe she was drugged. I believe somebody drugged her because the doctors cannot figure out where that virus came from. And it's markers that they've never seen before, that they're unrecognizable to them. Usually, doctors know every virus out here. They could not tell what the hell that virus was. Griffin couldn't tell. Finn couldn't tell. Now, you know it must be, you must have been drugged if Finn can't tell. Because Finn specializes in this kind of, treatments and viruses. He specializes in this. And one of the things that irked me was, why was there no mention of Robert or Robin getting a phone call about Anna's virus? Like, why weren't they contacted? Like, that is her mother. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can understand if they didn't call Robert, but they definitely should have called Robin. Like, so one of her children got to be there, one that she pretty much didn't know about for 30 years, 40 years, and the other one got no mention, no phone call. I digress. I don't know what they were thinking when they did that. She was definitely poisoned, though. The question is, who poisoned her? But I do believe she was poisoned. Um, I do like the relationship that's happening between Chase and Finn. I'm glad Chase was there for his brother because Griffin called him. But Finn needed to hear that, though. You can't hover around Anna. You know, you gotta be. I respect Finn for being there for her and stuff like that, but you gotta take care of yourself too. You know what I mean? I kind of like their relationship. I still feel like I'm on the fence about it, but I kind of like it. So anyway, moving on from that, Aidan. Aidan was amazing today. So he has a passion for baking. I like that because I don't have a big passion for baking, but I definitely love baking though. Baking is it's relaxing to me. You know what I'm saying? Like I love to bake too. I'm not as skilled a baker as Aiden. I'm gonna tell you that because Aiden he likes to bake things from scratch. I don't bake from scratch. I use the box. I never I think I baked maybe cookies from scratch. Cookies I did bake from scratch. I never baked a cake or anything from scratch, and I don't bake pies, not unless they're pre-made pies. I'm trying to get more into baking from scratch, because that's what my grandmother and them always do. They're old school, so they bake from scratch. But I definitely want to learn how to bake from scratch, though, most definitely. I have an app, actually, that I have recipes and stuff like that help me do it. Like, I use that app all the time, though. So I'm definitely learning. I'm progressing. But those cookies that he baked they look dope. Like, they look bomb. I'm happy that Franco, is helping him with this. You know what I'm saying? Like, Franco is definitely stepping up. Like I said, love him or hate him, Franco has stepped up for those boys. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's definitely stepped up and being a father figure for those kids. And I definitely respect that because even in real life, there's not many men who would step up to help raise somebody else's child, let alone, help raise one child, let alone three boys. And he's stepping up and he's doing that and he's helping them out in any way he can, you know. And I commend that. I respect the hell out of that. You know what I mean? I love the bonding moment between him and Aiden and him, understanding Aiden more and his passions and stuff. I feel bad for Aiden because it's a shame that Aiden has to keep his interests a secret because he's afraid people are going to mock him or make jokes of him, make fun of him. I feel bad for him because, as a kid, I couldn't relate. I was the same way when I was a kid. Like I said, growing up, I used to like shows like Seventh Heaven and stuff like that, and people used to make fun of me because I liked it or whatever. But it was a cool show that had a good message to it, and I liked it. You know what I mean? I remember the theme song like it was yesterday. I always remember that theme song and their little dog Happy. I used to love Seventh Heaven. Um, But people made fun of me all the time for stuff that I liked when I was a kid. And the crazy thing is, when I was a kid, I used to care what people think. Up until I would say I was like 17, 18. Once I turned 17, 18, I stopped caring what people thought of me or what I liked. You know, if I like it, I like it. If you don't like it, you don't like it. I don't feel like it's good to make fun of anybody. There's adults out here that make fun of people, you know, other adults and stuff because of what they like or a TV show they like or because they like to bake or whatever. Like, who cares? Your interest is not the same as everybody else's interest. Like, I'm not a big football person. I'm not. I'm not a big football person. You know what I mean? I'm not a big basketball person. You know, I grew up watching wrestling and stuff like that. I didn't grow up watching basketball or football. I didn't care for it. You know what I mean? And people used to make fun of me for not watching it because they think every guy has to like football or basketball. Not really. Not at all. You know what I mean? You like what you like. You know, not to say I never watched any of it because I do. You know, but I'm not an avid watcher like some people. You know, like they watch Monday Night Football all the time or they watch NBA all the time. That's their interest. I don't watch it all the time. You know, I keep up with it from here and there, but that's it. I feel bad though for Aiden, like I said, because it's a shame that you have to hide your interests and stuff from people because you're afraid of what they think. You know, that's why I'm glad, you know, he got Franco there and Cameron, you know, they're all helping him out and stuff like that. And what really pissed me off was towards the end of this episode when Cameron opened up the tablet and stuff like that. He opened up the tablet and it had go away Gaiden on it. That pissed me off. That really pissed me off that people are so childish. People are so offensive. They're so rude, disrespectful, especially to another child. Like, just because he likes to bake or he likes to read books, I love to read. You know what I'm saying? That's why I bought my Nook. You know, like 2 years ago, well, 3 years ago, I bought me, like, you know, a Nook reader because I like to read my books and stuff like that. You know, it's a shame that whatever anybody does in this world, it has to be criticized. Like, this kid is not hurting anybody. Him baking or reading books or whatever, how is that affecting your life? You know what I'm saying? What we all do in our life, as long as we're not hurting anybody, why bully somebody or demean somebody because of what they like to do? You know, him being in the kitchen baking, how is that affecting your life? How is that hurting you? You know what I'm saying? Like, people are just downright cruel, and it's a shame. And it happens in real life. And that's the sad part about it. That's why I'm digging this storyline. I'm glad that this story is being told. You know, and I feel real bad for that because this is the type of message, and it's borderline harassment. And this is the type of stuff that make young kids commit suicide. You know, constantly, you know, emailing them or texting them, you know, harassing notes and stuff like that. It's the catalyst for them to commit suicide, and that's a shame, you know. Um, but yeah, those cookies looked amazing. Baking with Aiden, I could definitely see that as a show. Um, and I hope that Cameron finds out who's doing this and beats the hell out of him. I'm just saying, like, whoever's bullying his brother, I hope he finds out and he makes him regret it, you know. So anyway, moving on from that. Um, who was it? Jocelyn. I didn't like how Jocelyn was trying to throw Alexis under the bus a little bit when she was talking to Cameron because she found out Cameron's on probation for buying weed. And she told him, "Oh, why didn't you call me? I could have got Diane. You know, I could have asked Sonny to get Diane to come down there and get all the charges dropped." They made it sound like Alexis was a shitty attorney or something. Like, how many times do I have to say this? Alexis is just as good as Diane. Furthermore, you had a tough judge. You know, what's wrong with him getting probation? There's nothing wrong with him getting probation. This judge was looking to give Cameron 12 months in juvenile detention. He could have went to juvie for 12 months. Instead, you got community service, probation, and you got to go to a drug counseling session. That's it. That's a slap on the wrist, if you ask me, compared to what that judge was originally trying to give him. You know, so Alexis did a great job with that, in my opinion. She really did. She did a wonderful job. Um, like, I hate how they be trying to throw Alexis under the bus. Like, Alexis is a damn good attorney. Stop trying to play her. Um, so anyway, Oscar, you know, and Jocelyn are planning, you know, what they're gonna do and stuff like that. I love that scene. I have to agree with Oscar. I would have took the pottery thing off. See, I thought about doing a pottery class one time, but I knew I would suck at it. I knew I would not like pottery. I knew it, first of all. I knew that wasn't gonna be my thing, so I don't blame Oscar for not wanting to do pottery. Like that, some things you just ain't meant to do. But anyway, this was a pretty cool episode. I definitely enjoyed it. It was emotions all over. So anyway, hit the comment section. Let me know what y'all thought. I will see you all later. Have a great day. Peace.